Welcome to another edition of Art of the Kickstart. Today I am super stoked because I am talking with Chris Cronin, the co-founder of Kitanica. They are one of the very few U.S. manufacturers of clothing here in the United States. They have their own factory in Oakland, where Chris is calling in from, and they've recently introduced a new bag line that is sourced globally. The campaign is called the Scorpion Pack. It's on Kickstarter right now. It actually just cracked over $100,000 yesterday, has 25 days to go while we're recording this. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today on Art of the Kickstart.
Awesome. Thanks, Roy. Really appreciate having me on. It's great. It's really exciting.
Definitely. Well, I'm excited for this. This is a really cool product. It's done really well. I mean, you've got almost 1,000 backers for it with 3 weeks left. You know, what's also really unique is 38% of the backers that have come into this campaign are brand new. They've never even backed a product before. But before we get into discussing all of those sorts of things, if you would, please give the audience kind of the elevator pitch for your product.
Well, we make and are known for really heavy duty nylon gear. And so we've started this bag line and saw, we've made a backpack, we made a duffel, we made a attache, and we were like, well, we're doing all this stuff and it just takes a lot of investment. So we we were like, fanny packs, we could kill a fanny pack. We would make a really cool one. We'd make it all tactical, heavy duty, last a lifetime, bring our Titanica DNA to it and really just kind of over engineer it and overbuild it. And we're just kind of spread thin on funds to make everything we want to make. It's plagued our company since the onset because we just have all these ideas. And so Kickstarter was a great way to jump into it. So we've made this fanny pack. It is We don't really call it a fanny pack because we don't like to think of it as a fanny pack. We like to think of it as a lumbar pack. So it's more of like replace your backpack with this pack. And what the key features to it are, it has a really heavy duty waist belt, like a backpack waist belt, a backpacking waist belt. So it's thick, it's padded, and it has a giant clip on the front that you can really cinch down so you can put actual weight in the fanny pack, or lumbar pack, or as we call it, the Scorpion pack. And there's a ton of functionality built in it. So Nalgene bottles are giant, and water is really key when you're hiking. And with a fanny pack or like your average fanny pack, you can't really carry a lot of water. This thing's got like all these two pockets on the outside. And we also have a mole system, or molly, depending how you say it, but it's a webbing system that you attach a giant water bottle holster to it, and you can fit a giant Nalgene, 1 liter Nalgene, or even bigger things that pop out. But we kind of tried to think of everything, and that's just what we do at Titanica in general. Is just like overthink it, like, oh well, if we have this, and we have a Velcro panel on the inside for accessories we want to build moving down the road. But one of the key features is also it unzips all the way, so you can has a horseshoe zipper, we call it, and the whole thing folds open. So we're just we're loving that people are digging it, and that it kind of work. It's nice that it all worked together where we saw this trend of fanny packs and they're all coming back. Like the sling pack is kind of going by the wayside and the fanny pack is coming back. And we were just like, yeah, let's make one. Let's not wait because it's hot now. So that's why we wanted to do the Kickstarter and kind of let us do it immediately. And there has been some critique, like, why does this company, they're established, they've been around, why are they doing a Kickstarter? There's a lot of reasons, but one of them is to do it right away.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the DNA of Kitanica and how all of that began in terms of the company and its origins.
Right. Okay. So my brother's a designer. We're a family business. He's been sewing clothes since he was probably 10 or 11, on my mom's sewing machine. And, he made some shirt, didn't like how it fit. He started to change it. So he made another one, and then he made another one, and then he made another one, put a little Pink Floyd logo on it, with it like hand needle stitched it. And that was the start of him just designing stuff he wanted and needed. And it has grown. It's been a long, he's over 50, so we've been at it a long time. And he's been sewing forever, and he's kind of like a nylon genius because that's where we went to. So he studied soil science. The real quick version is he studied soil science, got into, his name's Cronin, chief design, co-founder, and he studied soil science and started making jackets that could last on the farm and take the abuse of being wet, washed, dried and reused, and because all the cotton stuff, the workwear was just blowing out. If you ever had or used anything, with a lot of repetition and cotton, it just doesn't last forever. The laundry takes a lot out of it. So anyway, he made really industrial nylon farm gear, and that has spawned into like certain people have gravitated to it, and we kind of caught lightning in a bottle in a way where for fast forward many years, Adam Savage started wearing one of our jackets on Mythbusters all the time. So it's this green, like tank looking jacket. It's got this huge collar, rifle recoil pad, padded spine. It's 1,000 denier Cordura. It's like totally beefy. And people were like, where can I find that jacket? And so that was the advent of Google. One of my brother's friends was like, hey, somebody's looking for your jacket. Check out all these people. There's like a forums and different things that chat about this crazy jacket. Where do I get one? I want one. And so then he started sewing them one at a time in his basement. And that's kind of how a lot of these companies start, actually, these like tactical gear, or like that's just people making stuff they want to make that no one else makes, and no one makes tough enough. So that was the start. And then that jacket got picked up by motorcyclists and shooting enthusiasts too, because they go through clothes like crazy. They're in the dirt, they're
Yep.
doing all these training and exercises. So another nice thing about Kickstarter is that it brought us a broader audience, and introduced us to new people, which advertising can do, but Kickstarter does it a little. It's its own platform, so it has a different. It's not on our website. It's just kind of standalone. So that's been interesting. But to wrap up on like our DNA, Kitanica, which is a made up word, actually the origin of the derivation of that is chitin is the molecular component for bug exoskeletons and crustaceans. And my brother being a scientist, we got kind of nerdy on it. So it's basically the world of chitin. So it's the world Titanica is the world of exoskeletons, and that's where we started. And we spell it with a K because it looks cooler and it will be said phonetically properly. So um, that's and then that's why we have a bug as our icon or our logo, um, part of our logo. So yeah, that's it. And it confuses a lot of people. I wish
Sure.
sometimes I wish we had a much simpler name that just said nylon gear or something like that. But
Yep.
we make
Live and
everything. We
learn.
make all
Lesson.
sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's not
Absolutely.
just nylon.
Yeah, you guys have an impressive product line with lots of different line extensions on this, and the Scorpion pack seems to be something that works with all of the other products that you guys have created in terms of your expertise on the nylon side and the outdoor kind of tactical side of things. You'd mentioned, an influencer, if you will, and I know you guys have been involved in lots of other films or celebrities, if you will. How has that affected the growth of the overall business?
Well, Mythbusters was amazing. That was because that was an enormous show in its prime, and it was on forever. It's still on. It's still on YouTube and different. It's in syndication. So there's that. The movies are tougher. You'd be amazed. So we made the pants that are on The Rock in Jumanji. So we custom made them for their wardrobe department. We made them like three, or, I don't know, 5 pairs or whatever. It's for the different days of the shoot, and that is on every poster. It's everywhere. The green pants, you can picture it with the lap pockets.
Yep.
Those are our Raider pants or ASPs, all season pants. And that hasn't really, our fans love it, but it doesn't really drive business in a way that you think it might. Or at least we haven't been able to capitalize on it properly. A lot of rights around using the movie and the likeness of the Rock, and there's ways to rep it, but it's cool. We were on him in the Fast and Furious on it with a jacket there. We've been in countless TV shows, The Lost Ship. Another one is Hollywood Weapons. So those guys wear our good buddy Terry Chappert is one of the hosts on that show, and Larry as well. They wear our gear on the show, and that's been great. But you know it it's it's almost like bragging rights more than it has turned into business. In a way. But it's super cool. We're always excited when somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I need 30 jackets for the Arrow." We're like, "Oh hell yeah, let's go." That's awesome.
Nice.
So we made like 30 jackets for some security force in their, you know, $3,500 jackets all day long, right? But it was great.
Absolutely. So you've
It's
got
given us a
the
little
rocks
notoriety.
leg sizes and dimensions then, huh?
Yeah, they're insane. They're like he is
Tree
a
trunks.
specimen. There aren't people like him everywhere. They're just he's tall, he's huge, but he's got a small waist and he's chiseled, you know. He's such a great.
Well,
I mean, he's so fun to follow and stuff.
yeah, he
We were
seems to
lucky
be doing things
to work
right.
with him. Hmm.
Well,
Rock for
I'm looking
president.
at, I just Googled Jumanji pants, and it seems that nobody's bidding on that keyword. So there may be an opportunity there from an advertising perspective if the movie lets you do it with the rights of the name,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we could bid on it. Sure. Yeah.
So I want to dive into the crowdfunding campaign that's going on right now on Kickstarter. Make sure everybody
Mhm.
goes and checks it out and searches for Jumanji, not Jumanji pants, but Scorpion Pack.
No,
But
right.
on there, what was your first introduction to crowdfunding? How did you guys know that you wanted to potentially use crowdfunding? I know to open it up to a new audience, but when did you start recognizing it or seriously taking that as an opportunity to launch this product?
So, little history. One of our partners and investors has another company, but it's a tech company. They make hardware and they make screens, and um, their name is Mobile Pixel, and they make these screens that slide out of your laptop. And then they've got some new products coming. They have another one going now, which is like this incredible monitor situation. And
Geminos.
they
Yeah,
do,
I just had
yeah,
Jack on the show, and yeah,
that's
he just
awesome.
crossed $2 million with us. So
I
really
know they
excited about it.
crush it, and that was the impetus. They crush it on Kickstarter, and so our guys like you got to do a Kickstarter. And so, interestingly, we did. And last year we did one with. I'm going to leave the company's name out of it because they aren't worth mentioning, frankly. We had a terrible experience, and it didn't really even get out of the test phase. I was like, well, I don't care about the test phase. We need to do a Kickstarter. Like, let's go. I have product to move. I want to sell this thing, and we did it. And it just did never got off the ground, and they couldn't help us get it off the ground. And it was a ton of work, as anyone who just done a Kickstarter knows. There's a lot of thought, assets put together. It's a heavy lift on the production side for from the marketing standpoint. And so it's like, yeah, you're like crushed. You're like, dude, why can't we do this? So I was really upset, and so we were like, okay, we got to do it. So that's when we said, okay, we need a product that's kind of on trend, that's gonna what would work for Kickstarter of the things we make. I mean, we just put pants out there. Yeah, we got great pants. We got 13 pockets. They're like nothing else on the market, but I don't know that we're gonna sell enough to make it worthwhile. It won't. And there's sizing, and that makes it hard. So clothes are really tough on the internet in general, but Kickstarter even probably worse. So we wouldn't do that. So the it just kind of fit. We came up with this product as like a, hey, what should we do on Kickstarter? And the lumbar pack, this like unique thing that could be all purpose, fit everybody, unisex. It's got great functionality, and we'll overbuild it. There's nothing like it. It's over the top. Certain people are going to gravitate to it, certain people won't, but that's fine. And so that's where it came from. And it's just, I can't tell you how satisfied I am that we cracked 100,000, and that we got 25 more days to go. It's like finally it's been a long road to get it right. And kudos to our agency Inventus for doing that. They've been great to work with, and have really been a good shepherd. They've made me work for it, but it's happening. So I have nothing to complain about. Sorry,
No,
I have a
that's great
train
to
going
hear.
by. You might hear that.
No, all good. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, you could have had your choice of agency to work with, and it sounds like the last launch was a bust with the other one. But obviously, the team here at Inventus Partners has been super stoked to be able to work on this project and make it, one of the most successful campaigns out there in terms of the product itself, the innovation that you guys were able to bring to market. And I think it goes to the fact that the process is proven, and the fact that you guys are an established company, right? There's trust built in there implicitly with the fact that you will deliver. You've been out there and you're not a first time founder launching something out there. like how we're working with Jack and making his campaign so successful and hitting millions of dollars with him.
Crushing it.
Same idea goes, to something like this, to convey to the community out there, especially as I mentioned early in the show, 38% of your backers are first time backers. They've never supported anything on Kickstarter ever. So the fact that we were able to convince them of a new platform, of a new product, and that it's going to be delivered as advertised really goes to show all of the work and energy that went into bringing this product to market.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a great experience, and it's still going because we got 25 days left to
Yeah.
go, and we're at 100. I'm like, all right, how about 200? Let's go. Come on, we got to get there. And how are we going to do it? And the team's been, working with me to temper my expectations, but we're now it's in the grind because the originally out of the chute you have customer lists and all these like first time. I think there's people out there that are fans of Titanica so much that they buy kind of, oh, that's new, I need that. They're collecting our gear. A lot of people collect our gear. Like we have shorts, they're called rain shorts, and we make them in, and we've made them in probably 15 different camouflage and solid colors, and there's people that have 15, 16 pairs of rain shorts, and they're not cheap. They're made here. They're but that affinity wears off after everyone's bought, that you're in touch with and that follow you and that obsess about your brand. You got to grind for the next. Now we're into the 25. We're in the grind mode, and until I guess the end date's going to help us push us over the edge at the end of it. But that's when it really pays to have a partner that knows what the hell they're doing, because that's like a little bit of the dog days of the campaign, if you will, where it's okay, everybody, we got the low hanging fruit.
Yep.
Thankfully there's a lot of low hanging fruit. It all kind of came together nicely in the first 10 days or whatever.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the campaign and maybe some of the surprises that you've had along the way with your first one.
Well, surprising is that there's a lot of design comments that, because we put stuff out there all the time and are in, on social media, all the channels, and following, answer questions and respond to people. But all that's squelched because it's social media. Unless you're paying for ads, you're not going to get a whole bunch of people that haven't seen your stuff before. So this was kind of interesting, where there's a lot of people like, oh, you need to do this, oh, this color, oh, that, you need to, everyone's a designer, and you're like, we're already pregnant, we have a product. It's like, it's down the road where that,
Yeah.
like, making changes right now is going to be problematic. And so we are actually considering making a couple design changes that were thrown out there. There's some big requests that got really prevalent, so we're looking at doing that, and hopefully it won't upset people who didn't want that and liked it exactly as the way we showed it on the Kickstarter. But I think everyone will be fine at the end of the day. I don't think we're going to do anything crazy, but that was a big surprise. Um, the the return on investment was great. It's what I was hoping for, honestly. But it's great when things come together. I'm always surprised when things come together. A little pessimistic when it's like, after the first round, I guess that would be a surprise. But it just feels good to have 25 days left and be like where we want to be, from a vision standpoint. And now it's, considering what's next, like, oh, that worked. Okay, what else? you know, what can we do now? Like, that opens up a whole, because we're, as a company, good at designing things and not great at selling things. Frankly, we're all, you know, that's just kind of who we are right now. Because we're lean. We don't have a giant sales staff, working the phones and, maximizing every social media opportunity that comes. Hey, what color does that come in? What's your phone number? um, get a credit card. So, in terms of surprises, I think that's it. I think you said that we were like, did you say top 4% or something like that? And you had
Yeah.
some
Over
stat
a
that you
hundred
threw at
thousand
me as we.
dollars. Yeah. Put you
Yeah,
in the top
so
4% of all campaigns.
I don't. That's like really surprising because all I hear about is, from
They're few
investors
and
and other
far
people, like,
between.
oh, I made 2.5 million. I'm retiring after my Kickstarter launched, and you
Nope.
know, it's that's a great stat. I feel really good about that, and I'm going to share that with the team, because that to me is an accomplishment. So that's surprising. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what advice would you give to a entrepreneur looking to launch their idea on Kickstarter?
Um, well, know what you're getting into, be able to deliver the product. I think that's ultimately because and 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 focus on one at a time, because that can trip you up if you do one and you got another one and you cannibalize, or this thing goes sideways. Everyone's going to bail on this one. Oh, those guys didn't deliver right. So it's that would be advice. It's kind of logical, I guess. Um, Also lets you focus on one, but know that it's a lot of work going in, and don't skimp on the assets you produce for your product. Don't cut the corners. Just get as much as you can. That content is just really important for advertising. It's important for your emails. We're just using it everywhere. So we kind of got all sorts of different assets, and I wish I had more. I really do. I just and and eventually the thing launches, so you're kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna keep investing in the assets, but I would say do not skimp on that, because that's gonna sell it, especially to people
Yep.
who don't have no idea who you are and what you do,
Yep.
and don't trust you. So it's like that would be my kind of, and partner with the right partner. And it sounds like a paid pitch, but it's not. It's my experience.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, this has been amazing. This is going to get us into the launch round where I'm going to rapid fire a handful of questions at you. You good to go?
Okay, I'm ready. Let's have it.
All right. So what inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, we wanted to make things that people didn't make, and make them, you know, I hate using the word, but more badass than other things. We don't. That word's taboo. It's just overbuild it. Don't talk about how badass it is. Shut up, Chris.
Yep.
Okay, that's it. We just wanted to make stuff that wasn't in existence, that is tougher than everything else.
Nice.
I mean, higher
So if you,
quality too.
yeah, absolutely. So if you could meet with any entrepreneur throughout history, who would it be?
Need these questions in advance, man.
This is how it goes.
Edison.
Edison. Wonderful. What would have been your first question for him?
Um, how did you know to create what you were creating before anybody else?
Nice. What book would you recommend to our listeners?
Hmm. In terms of Kickstarter, in terms of business,
Your choice. To the entrepreneur out there listening to the show, what book would you recommend to them?
I mean, everyone would say The Art of War, as a book.
Great read.
To Yeah,
Absolutely. All right. What are the top three skills that you think every entrepreneur needs to be successful?
good at selling. It really helps. I wish I was
Yep.
better. Wish we were all better. We're focused on it now, but that's a key. Um, Being realistic, and not just and meaning not just listening to your family and people who love you tell you that, oh, your stuff's amazing.
Your
Yeah, do
baby's
it.
beautiful.
Exactly. Um, because that's a tough spot to be in as a family member, to tell you to crush your dreams.
Yep.
Yeah, so realistic, in general, and then you know, understand your finances and where
Definitely.
you are, and don't screw yourself over, because if you do, it's on you. So
Indeed. All right. Last question, Chris, in the launch round. And again, I know you just launched your first campaign out there, but very interested to hear your take on what does the future of crowdfunding look like?
yeah, it's really, it's grown so much so fast. It's hard to say, because the digital space is like this. In my mind, it's still a little bit of a wild, wild west in terms of predictability. It's kind of all over the place, but um, I think there's a lot of room for innovation in that space, because of the funding, um, the funding paradigm. It's really. lets people do things that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do outside of that. So I think that that's only going to continue, and um, it's not like it lets smaller companies be a bigger player in a way, a little bit levels that field. But because you can pay for your R&D and you can fund everything if you have the support, and I think that moving forward, it's only going to grow, and there'll be more players in that space. It's not just going to be Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I mean, there are more in general, but you know that evolution, somebody will turn it on its head and say, oh yeah, some finance company will come in there and double your proceeds, and you could see that happening.
Nice. Well, Chris, this has been amazing. This is your last opportunity to give our audience your pitch, tell people what you're all about, and where people should go to check you out.
Hey, yeah, so thanks for having me so much. Enjoyed it a lot, Roy. Thank you. And thanks to the Inventors Partners team. They've been awesome. Uh, we're at Kitanica.com. Kitanica.com is our entire lineup of stuff. You can get to our Kickstarter from there too. But we're a full line manufacturer of jackets, pants, shirts, fleeces, shorts, bags, and accessories too. So check us out. Follow us online. We're at on our social handles at Kitanica USA is our Instagram, and that's in Facebook as well. And then at facebook.com/Kitanica. And yeah, thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
My pleasure. Audience, thanks again for tuning in. Make sure to visit artofthekickstart.com for the notes, transcript, links to the campaign and the website. And of course, I got to give a big shout out to our crowdfunding podcast sponsor over at Product Hype, the top newsletter for new products that just launched. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today on Art of the Kickstart.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. This was great. Thanks, Roy.
Indeed. You're welcome.